So good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. And I'd like to say before we even get started today that I understand and know and am pouring forth love, tenderness, kindness, and gentleness on this Father's Day. Not every one of us has a wonderful feeling about Father's Day. The person who fathered us or who did not father us may not give us a feeling of tenderness and love and kindness and gentleness. So I invite each one of us to be gentle and kind with yourselves, with ourselves, and with those people who fathered us, with those people who were a part of our life in the fathering role, because at any given moment, we are all doing the very best that we can. So if we just take a breath, let that in, and allow ourselves to know that this celebration that started in 1972 is celebrating all of us because each one of us has fathered something or someone in some way. So happy Father's Day. Onward now to our topic and what came through me and what Spirit wants us to co-create together and have a play date with. So for today, the title that came through me is Ingenuity, Originality, or Transcendence. And of course, our theme for the month is creativity in the golden age. Before I go on with any other thing, I'd like us to all give some love to our most spectacular, our most wonderful, our most talented Dawn Preisendorf, who hosted for her very first time today. Yay! Thank you, Dawn. It was just absolutely perfection. And also just send some love. She's in vigil now, but hold some love in your heart and know for Lucy Ragnelli, who did not know she was going to be the pulpit assistant until 10 minutes to 11 today, who stepped up as an Agape licensed spiritual practitioner and brought it through. So thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Dawn. Yes. Thank you. So, ingenuity, originality, or transcendence. Well, we are going to start with, you know what? A joke, a little giggle, something to let us know that, let me know, and all the rest of us know that our enlightenment, our unfoldment in spirit need not be always serious. And in all transparency, I'm just going to cop to it. For me, sometimes I get pretty serious about this, pretty serious about my spiritual practices, my commitments, sometimes because, believe it or not, inside me is a really serious person. I know, you don't believe it, but there is. And so I like to start us with a little giggle to let us know that in all the seriousness, God still is. And in the depth of that seriousness, humor and joy and glee and laughter and zeal still is. So here's our little giggle for today. A family of mice were surprised by a big cat one day. The father mouse jumped up and said, "Bow wow!" And the cat ran away. So the little mouse said, "What was that, father?" That's what the baby mouse asked. And the dad said, "Well, son, that's why it's important to learn a second language." Just a little Father's Day giggle. Yeah. I don't know about you, but my dad, the jokes he used to tell were not funny, but we laughed. So a little Father's Day giggle to get us going. So anyway, ingenuity, originality, or transcendence. So let's start with some definitions. I like to start with definitions so that we seemingly are all on the same page. That is not to say that the divine mind has only one answer to this definition thing. However, so that we're in the flow together of this co-creation that we have, each one of us. It so puts me in awe that before time even began, each one of us decided to be here in this moment today for this co-creation. So some definitions. Ingenuity. What is ingenuity? And the answers that showed up for me were cleverly inventive. And I want to say, before I go on with this, that there is one of our Agape licensed spiritual practitioners who taught me the word clever and taught me a way to know the word clever in a different way than I had ever looked at it before, in the cleverness of the creativity of the divine within, through, and as me. Thank you, Sarah. So, ingenuity is cleverly inventive, astuteness, and resourcefulness. Yeah, so those are the things, just let's be with that those are the things that ingenuity expresses as on the planet or shows up. The next one, originality. Now, we all have originality. Every one of us, whatever we have on today is about originality. Whatever we put on today is about originality. However, originality for the purposes of our time here together is creative ability, uniqueness, and inventiveness. And all three of those God qualities make themselves known in, through, and as each one of us as we allow it to, as I make the choice to let those things show up. Because every God quality that you can list, which there's classes here that you can take where you can learn all the God qualities, every God quality that can be listed, or our practitioners can probably list them for you too. Every one is something that is inherent in, through, and as each one of us. You know, like Reverend Michael often says, we didn't come to get, we came to let. You know, I didn't come to get these qualities. I came to let these qualities out, to let them be a part of who and what I am. So that's the definition for originality. Now, transcendence, which I so love the way spirit works. I love, love, love. Transcendence is part of the title of this sharing today. And the song we used was from Reverend Michael's Transcendence album. I just love, it's just the synchronicity of the divine is so awesome, and it happens all the time. Yet it still feels awesome to me. I'm sure it probably feels awesome to you. So anyway, transcendence is beyond ordinary limits. In transcendence is always eternal. It's a shift in our consciousness, and transcendence taps into the creative mind. You know, the creative mind is within and as each one of us. The divine mind itself has lots of, probably a gazillion different facets. One is the creative mind. And the creative mind is within, through, and as each one of us. And we may not know it, but there is creativity in our creative mind. The creative mind is within us. The creative mind is doing this thing kind of like, I have adult children, but one of them, when he was a toddler, used to always be the kid who was like, Mom, come on, Mom, I want to tell you something. Mom, let's go do this. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I decided, or it feels to me, that the creative mind is that way inside of all of us too. That the creative mind is making itself known and allowing us to know, I am the creativity of the divine in whatever way that is. For me, in the past, up until now, I would have thought, well, I'm not a very good artist. However, I can cook like nobody's business. So then that's the creativity of the divine, the creative mind. So we all have something in the creative mind that's coming through for each one of us. So transcendence is a part of that. So these three things: ingenuity, originality, or transcendence. Now, the question mark at the end of there, I think Spirit put it there because we get to decide which one is us, which one may not be us, or what are we going to do with all three of them. So I'd like to share a story with you. And once again, Spirit is in such synchronicity and knows what it's doing. Karen, you just sang about freedom. Well, I want to share a story with you about Bayard Rustin. And I'm sharing this story because it's Pride Month. Bayard Rustin was an African-American man, and he was very influential in the 40s. He was an activist, he was a pacifist, he was very influential in the civil rights movement. And I'll tell you a little about Bayard Rustin. He was a strategist, civil rights activist, and he was an openly gay man at a time when this was not done. And I want to add my little part into it too. He was an openly gay man in the African-American community. And the African-American community sometimes is not quite so trusting or accepting of openly gay people. I'm just saying that. I'm just speaking it. I'm being, I'm part of that group. However, I'm saying it. I'm not part of the group who's not open. No. I'm just saying I am African American. And as an African American, there are some things about African Americans that I'm privy to. And one of that is that openly gay people, in some instances, are not well accepted. So here's Bayard Rustin. This is the 40s. He's an openly gay man. He stands up for his truth. He absolutely, positively stands in his originality. He absolutely stands in his ingenuity. He stands in his transcendence. However, I'll tell you a little bit about him. He made a living in the beginning of his career as a spiritual singer in nightclubs. When I read that, I thought, whoa, I wonder what this was. I wish we could zoom back there and see what is this, spiritual songs in nightclubs. But anyway, that's how he allowed the source and supply to show up for him. He also studied nonviolence and Gandhiism in England and India. And in 1947, he founded the Journey of Reconciliation. Now, the journey of reconciliation was a journey that others took to embody the divine justice and the divine resolution in the world. And this journey of reconciliation was a forerunner to the freedom rides that were testing the Supreme Court desegregation rulings, because there was a ruling in the 60s about desegregation. So there was freedom rides, and everybody went on the freedom rides. Now, this brave, intelligent, glorious, spectacular being of light that we call Bayard Rustin, he went on the freedom rides, and he was arrested, and he was on a chain gang while he was arrested for 22 days. Chain gang for being in the freedom rides. Okay, so we all know there's always, in the midst of everything, there is a learning, there is a expansion, there is spirit. But anyway, he became, after that, a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was a mentor to him. And then when they had the March on Washington in 1963, this March on Washington was for freedom and jobs. And it was as a result of Supreme Court rulings. And I was 13 years old, and I remember the March on Washington, how excited everyone was. Bayard Rustin became the deputy director of this March on Washington. And that is the way that the March on Washington unfolded, with the success and the nonviolence and the pacifism that it did. Yeah. So this Bayard Rustin, this is like ingenuity, individuality, and transcendence, originality, ingenuity, originality, and transcendence all rolled into one. And what, like we often say here, and Reverend Michael says it a lot, and I love it, Bayard Rustin to me is just like Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph. He was not the exception. He was merely the example. So that for each one of us, there is a Bayard Rustin inside each one of you, me, I, they, all of us. There is. It's in there, where we can use these God qualities to bring the passion of life that wants itself to be known in, through, and as each one of us. So you're probably thinking, okay, I love hearing about this. And some of you may be saying, yes, Reverend Verona, I saw the movie also. However, if you didn't, I did watch the movie. I'll cop to it. And also, though, I learned about him as a young girl. You know, in our household, he was one of the heroes. There was a lot. And there were sheroes too, but in our household, it's something I learned about Bayard Rustin. So here's the thing. How can we have practical usage of what Bayard Rustin brought? He brought his own bespoke and customized ingenuity. He brought originality. He brought transcendence. And one of the ways he brought these things was embodying and embracing the divine masculine. Yeah, the divine masculine. And the divine masculine is the part of us that is leadership, courage, strength. The divine masculine gets things done. Okay, the divine masculine within, through, and as each one of us gets things accomplished. I want to share with you. So last evening, I had done everything I was going to do, gone through this a couple of times. And then I went in my kitchen to get a glass of water, and there were dirty dishes in the sink. And there was a part of me that said, had to do those dishes. Just go ahead and sit down. Go ahead, sit down, read your Edwin Gaines book. You're in the middle of that. The divine masculine in me said, we need to get this done so that come tomorrow morning, we can do more. We don't need this to be in the way. We need to be able to hit the ground running, so to speak, come Sunday morning. So that's just a little tiny example of the divine masculine. I'm sure you all know. However, I want to point out too that we're filled to overflowing with the divine masculine and the divine feminine. None of us is just one thing. And those two things work together in tandem with each other. You know, they work together all the time. However, since this is the day that Richard Nixon said we are celebrating fathers, did you know that? He was the president that made it a legal holiday. Ew. Anyway, my own personal perspective coming through, that since this is the day that we're celebrating fathers or fathering, that we get to know it's the divine masculine that brought Bayard Rustin all these things. It was the divine masculine that brought them through him. He did happen to be born as a man. That was his sexual identification, but that is not to say that he didn't have the divine feminine in him too. And we all have the divine masculine. So the parts of the divine masculine: leadership, courage, and strength. And they all equate with ingenuity, originality, and transcendence. So the way we allow ourselves to be in the flow, it's so easy. Of all of these words, all of these concepts, all of these God qualities, there's one easy thing. It's faith. Faith, faith, faith. And a little acronym for faith. Fearless acceptance in the heart of God within. Fearless acceptance in the heart of God within. Yeah. And we all have faith. I know we all have faith because we're here today. When our eyes opened this morning, we all had faith that we were going to be able to get out of bed. When we all got in our vehicle that brought us here, whether it was public transportation or our own car or our bicycle, we all knew, okay, when I get on it, it's moving. It's bringing me to Kahila. So it's really, really this easy thing, fearless acceptance in the heart of God within. And the way we can use these different qualities all together now, you all know I love these little equations, the way we can use them, partly because for me, I love New Thought Ageless Wisdom because it is not a faith philosophy that is doled out to us and we are inanimate objects in it. That New Thought Ageless Wisdom, Agape Bay Area, we get to participate. We get to be the creators. We get to take dominion over our lives and we get to make it happen because it happens in, through, and as each one of us, the 4 stages of consciousness. It happens. So for ingenuity, it's leadership. Ingenuity is filled to overflowing with leadership, which is trusting my essential God self. Yeah, trusting my essential God self. Originality is courage. Leadership, courage, the divine masculine traits. Courage. Courage is inventiveness. And from the Eva Bell Werber reading that Lucy so wonderfully read to us, allow ourselves to know life without beginning or ending, filled full with itself. Every atom of our being is endowed with divine completeness. Ooh, the original one, each one of us. The original microcosm of the macrocosm. The original, unique, bespoke expression of the divine. And then the third one, transcendence. Transcendence equates to me with strength. And strength is transcendence in the strength of a shift in our consciousness, tapping into the creative mind and allowing ourselves to do that in this way that Ernie says, a quiet contemplation, not strenuous effort, fasting from negation, and feasting upon affirmations of spiritual realization. That feels so yummy to me. Feels so delectable. It just feels so comfortable, feels so soothing. Fasting from negation. There's a lot of negation in our world today. Turn on your phone, turn on your computer, turn on your TV, turn on your car, you hear stuff. But fasting from negation and feasting on, because we are all, each one of us, every second of every day of our lives, we are invited to the feast table of the divine. Each one of us. And our RSVP can be, it can be really easy, feasting upon the affirmations of spiritual realizations. Yeah, it can happen for us. It is already happening for each and every one of us just by virtue of the fact that we are here to co-create here today together. That we, this morning, you may not have used these words that I love to use, but this morning when we all woke up, we said, I'm going to have a play date in spirit today. And it's going to be at Agape Bay Area. That each one of us has the ability to bring it into our innate and organic selves in the ways that resonate within our hearts. So all of this information, all of these things we can use, and Bayard Rustin and the leadership, the qualities of the divine masculine, leadership, courage, and all of the other qualities of the divine masculine. You're probably thinking, so how's it showing up for you, Reverend Verona? So I've been being with this all week long, and every time I came up with something, Spirit said, not it. No, keep being. Every time I came with something, Spirit would say, go a little deeper now, take another breath, go a little deeper. And it just showed up to me this morning, the example of the ways that I have used the divine masculine qualities of leadership, courage, and strength while being in ingenuity, originality, and transcendence. It came from a conversation I had with John Chastain this morning. And the conversation I had with John Chastain and Lucy Ragnelli was as I was getting ready for this sharing, because of the way the years I was raised in, I put it all on my iPad and therefore it's in my computer. However, for the readings, which I hold in my heart all week and read them and embody them and let them wash through me, I print them up. And I have the printed readings I carry them all around my house. They're in my office, they're in my bedroom, they're in my living room. When I'm washing the dishes, I have, one of those racks that you put your recipe book on. I put that on there so I can really be in it. Okay. So I can know what is mine to share as part of what is mine to quote as part of the sharing, to be really obedient, really to be in a place of faith-filled sharing, faith-filled in that fearless acceptance of the heart of God within me. So, okay, I'm finished. This morning, I get up, I spoke earlier, and then I get up and I go in my Zen office, and there's the printed readings. And I thought, well, I don't need those. It's already in my iPad what I'm going to use, the part I'm going to use. And so I walked out. Spirit said, go back in that room and get the readings. So I went back in the room, got the readings, folded them up, put them in my purse, got in the car, drove here. When Spirit said to me, just keep the readings near you. I, in my humanness, and when I got here, took the readings, folded up the paper, put it in the trash bag I keep in my car. And I said to Spirit, I got this. I have this on my iPad. However, being faith-filled, having fearless acceptance of the heart of God within me, also using my divine masculine leadership, courage, strength in the ingenuity, originality, and transcendence that I am, I took it out of I left it in the trash can. I come inside, I have a nice talk with John Chastain, I'm in the meditation, and I realize it appears that our pulpit assistant may not be here today. And Spirit said to me, get your butt back out to that car and get those readings out of the trash. Thank goodness for me, I don't allow myself to put liquids in my car trash can. So the paper was still readable, was able to come back in, open up the paper and say to our beloved Lucy Ragnelli, Lucy, would you be our pulpit assistant today? And here are the readings. Yeah, it's that thing, it's that whole, look at how Spirit works through us. And if we allow ourselves to listen to the intuitive voice, be filled with faith, be a faith-filled presence and essence on the planet in the things that are what are our lives to do. And the important part that I learned this morning, thank you, Spirit, thank you, ancestors, to share that with everyone, to share that with every single person whom we encounter, because the sharing gives the rest of us the leadership, the courage, the faith, the strength to share also. And as we all share with one another, what happens? The oneness that we are just grows and blooms and blossoms and makes itself known. And we all know that in the midst of all that, love reigns supreme. That love takes over. That love makes it happen. The law initiates it and institutes it, but love makes it happen. So the challenge I have today is using the faith that you are, embrace and embody and express your ingenuity, originality, and transcendence to its greatest, to its fullest, to its most wonderfulness in the passion that each one of us is. Let's pray. Dawn will be coming up to join me for the prayers.